This, as we featured on the show earlier this month, is Fraud Prevention Month. Joining us this morning, Caroline Hubberstey is the head of the External Affairs with Interact Association. I didn't even know there was an Interact Association.
No, we're a company. Interact's a Canadian institution.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You know, part of that is the security issue that you deal with all the time. Not only Interact in general, but security is a major theme with your group, right?
Well, certainly, we want Canadians to use their Interact debit cards with confidence.
Yeah.
And so security is paramount for us.
It used to be that it was a whole lot easier for the criminal element to set up scams and machines on our Interact machines to rip off customers, right? But not so easy now.
Yeah, we've always had a safe system. You know, we have 4 billion transactions that are happening annually. 99.9% of those are going through incident-free. But certainly, you know, debit card fraud is happening. We've gone from we hit a high in 2009 of 142 million in debit card fraud losses. So there's always a multi-layer strategy to prevent debit card fraud. So everything from consumer education, merchant education, to moving to chip technology, which is probably the best strategy we've had.
And that has paid off in spades, right?
It's paying off now. Yeah, we saw in 2011 debit card fraud drop to 70 million. So it's
less than half.
Less than half. So it's at the lowest point we've seen since on a transaction basis since 2003.
Right. So the chip technology, how is that better than the Stripe technology?
Well, it's one. You think about the chip as like a mini computer, so it can be copied. So when people often ask, why do I have to keep the card in the terminal for the length of the transaction? Well, when that card goes into the terminal, there's 12 questions that are asked in a secure conversation in a 4-step security process.
Is that right?
In those seconds that the transaction happens, these questions are being asked between the card and the terminal and into the financial institution, all via the Interact network.
Yeah.
And so it's validating the card, ensuring that that card is right and that has not been tampered with in any respect. So that's why it's in there. So this is the security. So that this is a really secure, encrypted conversation that's happening to protect the card and the transaction.
Yeah, yeah. So the chip technology is paying off, and most of the time now, it's chip that you use at most stores and wherever you use your Interact card.
Right, it's a conversion process. So by the end of this year, all of the cards are going to be converted and ABMs, and by the end of 2015, all point-of-sale terminals will be converted. But you know, progress is happening. So 90% of cards have been converted thus far, and then 84% of ABMs point-of-sale terminals combined.
Still a lot of emphasis, Caroline, on protecting your PIN, right? Why is that?
That is still the #1 tip that consumers can use. So once that card goes in, whether it's just a chip or anything else, cover the PIN pad when you're keying in the terminal.
I always have a quick scan around and see if anybody's watching.
Because only you know your PIN. So especially during the transition, you know, there's still mag stripe transactions out there, so criminals are still copying the magnetic stripe on the card and trying to capture the PIN to create a magnetic stripe card. But what the good thing about Interact rules and what we put in place is we don't allow fallback. So if that criminal tries to use that card, and if it's a chip, really a chip card, and tries to put it tries to swipe at a chip terminal, it won't. That conversation will recognize that should actually be a chip card and won't let the transaction happen.
Oh, really? Yep. Interesting. And we can find out more, right? Interact.ca is an excellent website and lots of great information.
A lot of information there and some video for merchants and their staff to learn about how to protect their terminals in their stores.
Yeah. Well, I must say we got to run, but appreciate your efforts and your group that is working hard to keep us safe and keep our money where it should be.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thanks for dropping by.
All right, thank you.
Have you ever been to the Sugar Bush?
No.
Fulton Sugar Bush?
No.
Oh my God. You got to go out there. Yeah, you got to go out to their pancake house. Here's Sarah Freemark. She's at the Sugar Bush today.